Hello and welcome to News Center. This is Parikshit Luthra. The controversy around the NEET undergraduate exam has left lakhs of students and their parents in despair. The cancellation of the NEET postgraduate exam just 10 hours before it was set to take place on Sunday dealt yet another blow to them. Following the move, student protests have intensified across India. The centre said the decision was taken as a precautionary measure. Following allegations of irregularities in the NEET undergraduate and UGC NET exams, the CBI has filed an FIR in connection with the malpractices. Meanwhile, the Maharashtra police registered a case against 4 suspects, including 2 teachers, over the alleged NEET paper leak. Several suspects were also arrested in Bihar and Gujarat, and the probe was handed over to the CBI. Amid mounting pressure, the government has removed National Testing Agency's Director General Fmr Secy and put him on compulsory wait till further orders. However, it has maintained that the incidents of malpractices were localized or isolated. The 18th Lok Sabha's first session began today. India's Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, who took oath in Parliament, faced chants of NEET and shame from the opposition.
नीट ये कोई नई चीज नहीं है, बीजेपी की पुरानी ये तरीका है। अगर आप पुराना उठा करके इतिहास उठाओगे, आप बीजेपी अपने लोगों को खुश करने के लिए पेपर लीक कराते हैं। और यूपी में ये बड़ा मुद्दा था और अब देखिए दिल्ली तक पहुंच गया ये बात। तो ये कितने करोड़ों परिवार के साथ धोखा किया इन्होंने।
सरकार की तरफ से तमाम बातों को मजबूती से और पूरी निरपक्षता के साथ सदन के पटल पर रखा जाएगा। सरकार के पास छुपाने के लिए कुछ भी नहीं है। जो ये हुआ है, इसमें जो भी दोषी हों, भले वो पेपर लीक हो या जिस तरीके से ग्रेस मार्क्स को लेकर छात्रों में चिंताएं रही हैं, ऐसे में उन तमाम बातों को ध्यान दिया जाएगा। सरकार गंभीरता से इस विषय को मॉनिटर कर रही है।
लाखों लोग बच्चे नाश हो गए, माँ बाप मेहनत उनके पैसे सर्वनाश हो गए, तो और ना आगे जा सक रहे ना पीछे हट सक रहे, तो क्या करें इन बच्चों को। तो आवाज़ तो यहाँ उठाने के लिए तो हमें चुने गए हैं, हम आए हैं सांसद में आम जनता का आवाज़ सुनाने, तो उठाएंगे, बोलेंगे, ये हकीकत है।
I'm now joined by Vrinda Sarup, former Secretary, Ministry of Education, Vikram Singh, former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, and we're also joined by TD Dogra, former Director at AIIMS, New Delhi. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me go across to Dr. Dogra first. Dr. Dogra, this has put a lot of question marks on the competitive testing system in the country, especially for medical exams. Do you think this was always known that many of these tests are questionable when it comes to protocol? Many have said that the NEET exam was a Ram Bharose exam. For a sense, do you think it's high time we instill confidence about the testing system related to the medical exams?
You say medical examination have been there for a pretty long time. And at no time, very few times, means I have been at AIIMS, and we have been regularly conducting examination at AIIMS. But I have never heard of this, that paper leak was there. Similarly, I have seen that UPSC is conducting so many examinations for such a long time, but I have not heard of any paper leak from the UPSC also and from AIIMS also. The 2 institutions are available to us where the no leak of the question papers have ever been there or ever been claimed of anybody. Now the question is that whatever new agency is given the job, they should consult them and make a policy. The rest all is politics. Question paper leak or anything, a theft can occur anyway. It's a kind of theft. And that theft has never stopped in the world. It has been prevalent everywhere. So how to control it, that is our, and when we have such 2 examples that where there has been no leakage, they should consult them and frame a policy or the working regulations with the help of these 2 agencies so that it becomes a very foolproof method. That's what I can say. Rest all,
right.
I have nothing to do with this political
okay,
matters.
Please stay with us.
Yes, I will stay.
Right. Mr. Dogra, Dr. Dogra, I'll request you to stay with us. Let me also get in Ms. Sarup at this point, the former Secretary Education. in the government. Ma'am, the government has formed a committee headed by Mr. Radhakrishnan, the former chairman of ISRO, to make recommendations on SOPs on how to plug the loopholes in our testing system. Is this the way ahead? Because when the NTA was formed, it was very clear that the mandate is to have online examinations. What protocols can this committee actually recommend? What loopholes do you feel exist in our examination system and have always existed?
So let me answer you by first saying that, yes, it's good to reflect. And since this crisis has developed and the government has set up a committee, one hopes that this will be really, reflected upon threadbare. And there are two parts to this. One is, what is the policy under which NTA must operate? What is its real mandate? And the second part is the implementation of that mandate, which will get into the nitty-gritty of, how to manage the exams, how to use protocols that are much more improved, and where the best of technology helps to check any kind of malpractice and so on. But I think what is more important in this, for this committee, and I think for government to take a view on, is what is the real mandate of the NTA. And I think we should relook at it, because even in the past, exams have been held, but there was a more decentralized mechanism. And I think we should now reflect whether it is useful to have over 20 lakh students, candidates, appearing for an entrance test, which are fiercely contested, where every half a mark counts to be able to get into good institutions, and where a level playing field can be done, but in a more decentralized manner. So I think the central government should reflect on whether it should run the tests now for largely what are its own institutions, and see that those are run well and properly. States can always have a relationship with their national testing agency on being able to draw from those lists with candidates who are domiciled in our different states. This used to happen in the past quite flawlessly. So I think we need to decentralize. We need to let the states run the exams for their own institutions, and they have far, far more institutions than the center has. But there is a case for standard setting. You must have the same standards even if they are run in the states. So that is a role which the central government can play, and they do it. They do it for all higher education institutions, whether it's in the medical sector or it's in the technology sector or it is even in the liberal arts colleges. So I think these are things which I hope will find reflection in the committee which is examining this. And the second part, of course, is the modalities of the test, the technology, the best security, the best safeguards.
Right. So you're saying that we need to decentralize the higher education system for competitive exams. The center should be only involved with standard setting, but the states should be allowed to run the show as far as examinations are concerned. Let me also get in the former DGP of UP, Mr. Vikram Singh. Mr. Singh, thank you very much for joining us. Let's see what's happening. There are two teachers who've been arrested in Maharashtra. The CBI is carrying out searches in Gujarat, Bihar, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh. The Bihar Economic Offences Wing has also detained a few people. Do you think there is a larger conspiracy here at play? Of course, there is a talk of solver gangs being involved, but you know, when it comes to such paper leaks and gangs being involved, we hear about such scams almost year after year. Do you think in cases like these, there is usually a larger gang, a larger nationwide nexus?
Mr. Parikshit, you have hit the nail on the head. Good afternoon. You have opened a can of worms, and it is an organized crime. The existence of organized crime presupposes that there is a gang leader, there is a well-organized greased machinery, and they use bribery, corruption, and also strong arm tactics to further their own motives. You would realize that a senior income tax commissioner was also, house was raided 2 years ago and admit cards were seized from him. If that be the nexus and the deep rot that has set in, well, you also have to have not only it is beyond the scope of local police, it is beyond the scope of state police to get after this organized gang of criminals. It has to be the CBI, it has to be the ED, it has to be the ATS and the STF, and use all the tools. Make no mistake about it, artificial intelligence should identify all the past criminals, all those who have suspicions, and through that artificial intelligence, the CBI and the ED should interrogate and examine their bank accounts. And those under suspicion should be subjected to narco analysis and also polygraph tests. It cannot be a routine examination of a theft or a bicycle theft or pickpocketing. It is immensely beyond that, and all the tools that are required, both of disruptive technologies, the investigative tools, the forensics and the ballistics, would have to contribute to unravel this organized crime, which has assumed epidemic proportions. And I can tell you that we have it in us to work it out, but let the political will also say that this is zero tolerance from now on, because to have a law and without the will is like having a cannon without the cannonball.
Right. Strong words there. Let me also get in Dr. Dogra once again. Dr. Dogra, now after the retest took place in the NEET exam, after the NET exam was also postponed, the NEET postgraduate 2024 exam, which is conducted by the NBE, has been postponed as well, so that the government can review the entire system properly. Do you think by suspending these exams one by one, there will be a lack of confidence in students and candidates appearing for these exams? Do you think the government must be very careful and must send out a very strong message of confidence to boost the morale of candidates? Dr. Dogra?
The candidates have no option. They have to reappear if there is a re-examination. So there is no question of their confident or not being confident for the second examination. That's a decision which government has to take. If it has taken, it's fine. If not taken, then it's up to them how to decide. Now, main thing, again, I try to emphasize, throughout world, these examinations are conducted, and always there's some leakage or some pilferage here and there is always there throughout world. It's not something very new which we are saying here. Theft has always been there, and police has always been there. The day the theft ends, I think a big number of people in the society will be workless, including police and lawyers and judiciary and even army. People stop doing theft. The army is dealing with the national level theft. So this is a human tendency. Whatever our effort should be to create a perfect system so that it is flawless. You see, as I gave you the example,
right.
I've been at AIIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. I was doing examination also. No time ever our paper have leaked. Why? It's a point to think. UPSC is working since long. No time the paper have been leaked. Why so? So we have to improve. We have to consider tomorrow. I'm not saying that 2 days, not tomorrow, there may be a week. But because it's just counterbalance between the good people and the people who are interested in the wrong means to get admissions. So just we have to improve the system. That's all. Rest all is politics.
Right. You have to make a foolproof examination system. Right. Ms. Sarup, if I can come back to you. Today, the government has operationalized the new anti-paper leak law, which talks about a maximum jail term of 10 years in jail, a 1 crore fine. This could be for the testing agency involved. This could be involved for any gang that was involved, a candidate, or any person involved in the leak of the paper. Do you think that a law of this kind will deter people from committing crimes like this?
So it's a good step when you look at the context which is presently there, and it's something. But as Mr. Vikram Singh just mentioned, that you have to have the will to enforce it. And one of the downsides, I worked in a state where such a law was brought in many years ago, and it also had a downside, which was that it tended to bring a lot of students into the realm of, criminality over such behavior. I'm not condoning what those who have fallen foul, have done the wrong thing, must be held to task. And there are enough laws existing in our system to be able to do that. But it's a reinforcement, and it's pointing at a certain direction where it is desirable to hold an anti-paper leak law. But, we have to enforce it, and we have to do it judiciously, because we cannot criminalize a lot of young students who probably in many cases are genuinely aggrieved. And wrongdoing not to be condoned at all, but they fall victim to many of these so-called mafias that we are hearing about.
All right, we are going to take a short break, but we'll request Ms. Sarup, Mr. Singh and also Dr. Dogra to stay with us. We're taking a break, but this discussion on our competitive testing system continues on the other side. Let me again focus on the entire NEET issue that has been grabbing headlines for the last few weeks. This also was taken up by the opposition in the parliament, and the opposition had criticized the Union Education Minister in one voice, saying that this is a story where action needs to be taken and the government needs to give a statement. The Education Minister must give a statement on the floor of the House. Let me go across to former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, Mr. Vikram Singh. Mr. Singh, we have seen how when it came to the retest in the NEET issue, there were 1,563 students who were awarded grace marks, and the retest was held for them. 750 candidates skipped the test, did not appear for this retest. Do you think this is something that needs to be looked into? Don't penalize these students, but understand why they did not appear for the retest. These were students who had been given grace marks.
Parikshit, I must compliment you for having a wonderful panel of Ms. Vrinda Sarup and Professor Dogra. In my limited understanding of the whole subject, let me tell you that we have made a mess of this NEET examination. And this is not a small number. Almost 40% of the students did not write the re-examination, and that poses a question mark. We admitted and took course correction in installments, whereas it should have been an absolute, like whiplash. That whiplash was not to be seen. And what we tried to redress, terminal cancer with band 8, terminal cancer with too little coming too late. I wish, because these are fault lines, that they should have been addressed when the entire examination, Professor Dogra mentioned, there can be stray incidents, there can be a fault line, a minor one here and there. But to have this level of contamination is a cause of grave concern. And I think the entire examination stands vitiated today, and it calls for a re-examination. The very fact that admission came in installments, 4 installments to be precise, no hanky-panky examined, nothing wrong with the examination. There are stray incidents. I stand corrected. There needs to be a course correction with the NTA. At the national level, we could have done much better. I'm very disappointed. But yes, this looks at the horrible fault lines that exist today. And Parikshit, that requires a major surgery today to retain whatever the vestiges of credibility that we have now, and also what the NTA can do and what it cannot do. What it cannot do, then of course, we need to have experts, domain experts, who are equal to the task, not beginners or novices who dabble and then come out with an apology afterwards.
Right. Sir, I'll take those points across. You made some very strong points. And let me take this across to Dr. Dogra, who has been telling us about the example of AIIMS and how this can be replicated at a national level. Dr. Dogra, today questions are being raised whether the National Testing Agency needs its own cadre. Do you think that is the road ahead? Or you feel we need to have a very lean team of government officials running the National Testing Agency, which works solely on online testing rather than having a pen and paper model? Do you think whenever you have a pen and paper test across the country, the room for leakages is greater? You have to reduce those gaps, make sure that all the competitive exams move online. What would you recommend, Dr. Dogra?
I would not like to make any stray comment. Actually, the examination itself is a science. And this science is not that fully developed as it should be in many developed world, European world, and in the United States of America, I'll say. This science of examination, it has various parts. And accordingly, the students are to be tested. And that's why I was saying that I cannot make a straight comment on that. And this examination process, rather the science of examination, required to be strengthened in this country. And for that, a body like National Board of Examination, if it has been created, it should be held by, the positions should be held by various positions by the academicians who have been the professors, who have been worked in the universities, and who have experience of the examination process and all that, and who understand the science of examination. And after that only, seeing the quantum of the students and the nature of examination and all that, it's a very sensitive issue. We cannot decide it on the weight on the media that, okay, this is to be done or that to be done, and this is right or that is wrong. It's very wrong, I say. It's a complete science in itself. There's a lot of literature and knowledge and experience of the people available that all required to be considered, and decisions should be taken in a very, very professional way, in a very academic nature. Because here we are deciding the future of our students, our own sons and daughters, and we have to be highly sensitive and knowledgeable of the process which we are conducting. Simply to say put them in jail or we have to this and that thing, I don't agree with that. Understand? So that I don't.
No, it's an important point that you're making, sir. You're making a very important point, Dr. Dogra, that when it comes to conducting examinations of this magnitude, when you're talking about 24 lakh students or 11 lakh students, such examinations, conducting them is a science, and you need to have people with very strong academic backgrounds who've dealt with such examinations to head such bodies such as the National Testing Agency or the NBE for that matter. Ms. Sarup, if I can come back to you, the DG of NTA, the National Testing Agency, was put on compulsory wait. He has been replaced to inspire confidence among citizens. Do you think that was the right way ahead? Or when it comes to making some strong changes to the working of NTA for the future, what are some of the things that can be done?
So I think NTA revamp is clearly required. And there are 3 parts to it. One, you must be clear what their mandate will be, what are the exams they would hold for which institutions. And certainly the central government has every business to organize exams and a level playing field for all the institutions that it runs. So they have that is very clear. The second part of it is that you must be able to put in and work with what are domain experts. Because what you are testing, whether you're doing it for technology institutions or you're doing for the medical institutions, you have to be able to test a child at that level, a student, a candidate at that level, that does he or she have the basics which will help her to become, do her doctorate studies for being a doctor or be an IIT or an engineer or in whatever field you hold the exam or postgraduate exam, whatever. So you have to have domain expertise in that area to be able to help you draft and develop good papers. Then the third part of it is that you have to have the technology, and I agree with Dr. Dogra that that is a science which has been developed and our people know it also. And that's the best way to put all these three things together. And you need an overview. You need some leadership in any institution who will be able to put these things together effectively, efficiently, and with security. Because you are playing with the lives and the future of many students, whether an exam for 2 lakh, whether it be an exam for 25 lakhs. These are students to whom you owe a safe exam and a level playing field.
Right. We will have to leave it there, but very good point of views shared by all our panelists here, Dr. Dogra, Mr. Vikram Singh, Ms. Vrinda Sarup. We need to inspire confidence. We need to have a foolproof examination system and academicians with very strong backgrounds in conducting exams to head bodies like the NTA. With that, we come to the end of News Center. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.